Hi, this is Bill Kanda, Chairman of the Board of Health, Custer County Board of Health. It's Tuesday, June 1st, 2021. We are meeting in the Custer County Board Commissioners Boardroom, and it's also a meeting online as well. So silence your phones, and I think I had unsilenced mine from the last meeting. There we go. So I'll call this meeting to order. And let's stand for the pledge, and let's let Dr. Brown do it for me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Since it's your meeting today, you'll lead billing. Roll call, Kelly.
Board of Health member Camden.
Here.
Board of Health member Flower.
Present.
Board of Health member Day.
Present.
Attorney Clint Smith.
Present.
Public Health Director Dr. Brown.
Present.
And Secretary to the Board Kelly Kemper present. Interim Secretary to the Board.
Oh, yeah. We're getting comfortable with it, so we better be careful and be reminded. Thank you. Audience introduction. We'll start in the back of the room.
Kayla Day Wentmore.
Reggie Foster, PIO.
Reggie who?
Remember me?
Okay.
We're back.
Adrian Washington, Office of Emergency Management.
Okay, and on the computer, we got the Sergeant of Arms of the Internet, Jordan Benson. Thanks for being here. And if anybody does chime in, we'll introduce them over the wire if it becomes necessary. So with that out of the way, are there any amendments to this agenda? Anybody? Kevin?
No.
Okay, Tom?
No, sir.
I don't have any either. And I don't believe we've got one. Is the May 4th one actually there?
It was, and I had sent them out earlier, but it was like a month ago. And so I just thought about that, and I sent them again about 15 minutes ago. So
You're good at that, I'll tell you.
I'm
You're even good at leaving me and getting it in time too.
Yeah.
So I have not seen them. Did you pull them up, Tom?
You're talking about the minutes for May 4th? Yes.
You got them? And I have not pulled them. I didn't realize she resent them.
I would move to approve the minutes from May 4th for the Board of Health meeting.
Second.
Okay. And all right, there, I've got them. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes to the board, May 4th Board of Health meeting. Any other discussions you seen in? Okay.
Nope.
And then a quick perusal here. They looked as good as they always do, Kelly. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving these minutes for the May 4th meeting, say aye. Tom?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Kanda, aye. So before we go any further, I have a question. If I say here in the meeting as opposed to present, is that any worse or better?
Personal choice.
So I was just curious whether I have the same standing or not. I've been saying the wrong thing all this time. All right. Any other commissioner items? We don't have their Board of Health members. Go ahead. Tom, you have any?
No.
Kevin?
No. In regards to your statement, I will waffle back and forth on both of them.
Oh, okay. So you straddles the fence.
I'll say here or present.
Just so you're never here and present at the same time. That'd be two of you, and that'd be more than we could handle.
It's a clear and present danger.
Although I am presently here.
That's a good point. So maybe that could be the new response.
I like that model too, a clear here and present danger. Anyway. All right, if that's the case, then Dr. Brown, ready for your report, and then we'll get into how we stand metric-wise on the COVID itself.
Okay, COVID status. Right now, you can look at the numbers that I have given you. Even though we We have opened up vaccinations to children now, 12 and up. We still are decreasing significantly in the number of people requesting vaccinations.
Decreasing.
Decreasing, yes.
Did you get many children coming in?
Not a lot, because we don't have
It's the
Pfizer,
right drug. Yeah.
right? So the only the ones who have Pfizer can vaccinate from 12 on unless the FDA makes some changes. So for right now, we're not absorbing or facilitating the increase here. They're literally needing to go, if they want to go on vacation or something, and they want their kids vaccinated, they need to go to Pueblo or Salida or to Kansas City. And those are the closest, obviously.
Okay.
But whether you notice or not, we have on Thursday, we're going to be giving a few vaccinations. Basically, the state now has enough vaccine that we have more than what we need. So they're telling us, even if you have to waste a vial, you have 10 doses in a vial, you have to waste a vial by giving 5 or 6 or 8 or something like that. Make sure you get however many people want to come in, and you just toss the rest of it. So they've made some significant changes in their distributions now.
There's no need to incentive. The state's not pushing incentivizing shots.
Well,
are they?
There is.
Do we need to have a lottery?
Yeah, exactly.
I know they are.
Yeah, you give out a new Chevy Blazer or something to get a vaccine, but basically, I have some problems with some of those things. But anybody who wants to be vaccinated now can, and we're trying to be as time efficient for them as possible. So this Thursday, we are scheduled for 18 second doses. On Friday, another 10. Next Friday, we'll go back to just Fridays. Next Friday will be 8, the 17th, 12. These are what are scheduled at this time. And then on the 25th, 7. So that's a total of 55 that are confirmed right now.
For next week.
You want to have over to the end of June, only 55 people are asking for vaccinations.
Do you have a feel for, I know people are still getting shots in other counties, but are you getting has there been any reported in the numbers that we've got from other counties?
No, what we have from CIS does pick up all those from the other counties. But even there,
Not very many bars.
they're probably down to like 20%. So they have literally thousands of vaccine doses sitting in Canyon City.
Right, I understand that, but they're Custer County people that aren't counted. I'm just wondering if they are counted.
But they are counted eventually because it does come back to us.
Okay.
So it is being recorded. If you want to go into our total first doses.
Before you do that, did you have a question?
I was just going to ask real quick. So the reason these are just kicked out, say over 3 weeks, 4 weeks, is mainly just because of the time lag between first and second doses?
No, these are essentially all second doses that are being scheduled now.
But they're kicked out over 4 weeks because of the timing and when they got their first dose.
Exactly. So
otherwise, you could run them all through on the same day.
If we had J&J, they'd be all done. But we wouldn't have people with as much immunized.
So it looks like we're catching up. I mean, the second doses are just about the same.
That's right. That's right. And last time, if you recall, when we met, I think had 76 that were scheduled. Now we're down to 55. I mean, it's just dropping precipitously at this time, which is not a bad thing.
No.
Not complaining. We do have no problems now obtaining all the vaccine that we ever need. So that's not, that was a concern for us at one time, and is no longer a concern for us. So our COVID status, the people who are picking it up really are not picking it up from somebody else here in the valley. Essentially, as I talk to most of them, anybody who'll answer my phone call, not everybody does, but when I call them to do a little tracking and so on, they've not been in contact with somebody here. They've been to Texas, they've been to Florida, they've been to the prison system, they've been someplace where it's being brought in from the outside and shared. So we have no outbreaks, we have no breakthroughs. Breakthroughs are, of course, when you've had COVID or you've had the vaccine and you contract COVID again.
Okay.
So those are good things. About 70% still, and this is an approximation, it depends on where you are, but the B117, which was really hyped up for quite a while as being so virulent, easily transmissible, making people very, very sick and so on, that's not turning out to be the situation, thankfully.
Yeah.
Questions about COVID status. I think most of you have received our numbers. I can run through those numbers if you'd like me to, but they are 1 week positivity 5.8, 2 week positivity 7.0. We have 4 positive confirmed cases spread out over the last 7 days and 1 probable. So not confirmed yet, but I expect she will be. So that means 3,338 cumulative tests have been done. And there are 92.21% PCR, which is kind of the confirming test if somebody has a question. We've had 206 total or cumulative positive cases. We still have no hospitalizations, and we have the 1 death that was associated but not caused by COVID.
Okay.
All that we vaccinated last Friday, we had 6 firsts, and the rest of them, the 20 were all second dose, all the second doses.
Okay. Any questions for him, guys? No? Nope. Kevin?
I'm good.
All right. Got any other issues that are not COVID?
Yeah, thankfully. I have given you guys all information on kind of what I've gathered as far as bids and from for establishing a public health unit that we can pull from place to place, that we can vaccinate with, that we can pull out to the fairgrounds if they're having a rodeo or something, and 2 beds within the trailer. If people start to get dizzy or whatever, we can have them lying down and cool. We can do essentially what we need to do until the EMS can get there. We can stabilize. It's set up for making it accessible to wheelchairs, so that it does meet the criteria set out as a public building, so it has accessibility in the back end of the trailer and out the front end of the trailer. So we can actually run clinics parking the trailer over at the school for healthcare clinics without having to obligate buildings.
Can you do real eye tests
We could do almost any kind of.
for kids if they want to make that a program initially?
Yes, yeah, for the vision test, since we already have maternal, so we're trying to get the kids, since the common phrase in public health is more bang for the buck, trying to get the kids, because you get more years of benefit out of a child than you do out of somebody like me. So
That's always been questioned.
that's the question. Yeah, exactly. So we have dental, we have maternal, we have nursing for mothers. So we have various types of programs, but we've never included vision. And since you don't read with your teeth, don't read with your ears, you read with your visual system, not just the eyeballs, but the visual system. I would like to bring somebody in, and I've contacted people and I've spoken with Ms. Terrell. And so what we're going to be doing is at every kind of public function around, we're going to be asking young mothers, young parents, if they would be interested in starting off, because we can do it by some of our grants. to bring in a child specialist to actually go through the visual systems, not just the health, but the visual system, how the eyes are used together. So
if you catch a kid that you may think has a learning problem, but his eyeballs not tracking.
That's right. And quite often in practice, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of kids sent in by pediatricians who said, well, his one eye turns in. Actually, it isn't. It just doesn't have enough of a bridge in the nose. I mean, this is just an example of things you can get taken care of and reduce the anxiety levels in the parents. But the bridge in the nose is not developed enough to pull the skin away. So it looks like one eye is turned in. It's actually just the flap of skin in the upper lid coming down more quickly than the other side. So just as an example.
Yeah.
So we're going to try, we'll see if there's the interest in the valley to be able to do those things to try to cut off at the pass some of the problems that develop with children who can't use their two eyes together properly. We also, in addition to that, we're doing all the vaccinations, and I've included in your packets here what vaccinations are available, along with a listing of all sorts of other things, but it's the last sheet in your packet, starting from hepatitis all the way down through influenza and through chickenpox and mumps, measles, tetanus, diphtheria. So do you have any questions? Those are things that we routinely have continued to do in spite of the COVID pressures.
This is for all ages.
This is for all ages, yes.
You can't do shingles because
We do
Medicare doesn't
shingles.
cover it. Are you doing shingles?
Yes.
Oh, there it is, shingles.
Yes.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, it is there. Along with the varicella, which is one of the things that that's the chickenpox, the varicella virus is what stimulates in that fifth nerve ganglion, gets in there and irritates for whatever reason. When your system quite often is down, irritates that ganglion. So you have exactly one half of your face that is affected because it will hit one side or the other side. So it's just a weird little disease, a weird response.
Not like Bell's palsy.
But it's another.
Yes, different.
It's different, yeah. But it can be extremely painful. It can last for months and months and months, or it can last for 6 weeks and just have a little itching on the scalp. But it's a real one. And for anybody above 55, we probably should consider it because the shingles vaccination is a whole lot nicer to you.
So you are having good turnout on people doing this, and we need to do anything to get it known to the public? What's going on? The healthcare providers in general are very much alerted to this. So when they go in for their checks, they're being advised. So it's not somebody who's giving out vaccines who's making money on it. Of course, we don't, but it's not that type of thing. It is trusted in the community. So do you do it in parallel or in concert with the medical clinic? Because they're doing vaccinations too.
They're really not.
They're not doing it.
They do the tests.
All right. And then they send them to you.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, nobody else right now. Now, there is talk of incorporating vaccinations, some vaccinations in the future through the clinic. But right now, for the Lone Ranger.
So what's the monthly average of people doing this? Just all the shots combined, is it like 50 a month or is it 150?
Probably a 50 a month.
These prices you got, is this what the cost is to you, or is this the cost that the individuals are paying when they come in?
Yeah, generally the people are not paying, okay? Lots of them have some kind of a medical insurance that helps them out, okay? For the people who don't, if they can pay, we charge, otherwise we try to cover it. We've been able to cover it so far, so people are not just cut off because they can't afford to pay.
So this is your cost is what you've got listed here. Thanks.
Other questions, Tom, anything?
I do, thank you. So this price sheet, does that money go into your budget? Does it get deposited in the general
No, it
fund?
literally
or-
goes to pay the companies that produce it. doesn't, it does not increase our budget at all. Yeah,
So
is
if
that
I
what
came
you're
in and got a Hep A shot and write you a check for $64, who do I write it to? Public Health?
You'd write it to public health and then we would transfer the funds. We transfer the funds directly then to the pharmaceutical
You
companies.
do have one big check, you accumulate it over whatever checks you got.
We usually, because they're so different, we usually just do it as, we keep a running tally with the vaccination companies.
And you'd have to order some of these vaccines or you
Yes,
have
we
those?
have to order. We don't have to order them for every person because they have a certain shelf life. So we try to keep most of them. There are certain vaccines that we do not have. And for the record, rabies is a big one. The only place you're going to get a rabies vaccine is in an emergency room. And so the kind of the closest that we have easy access to is Salida, to the Heart of the Rockies emergency
The
room.
reason for that is you can't keep it long enough,
Yeah, and it's extremely expensive.
is it?
And so do you deposit money with the finance department, the checks that are written to you for vaccines? Do they get deposited
Yes, they
into
get deposited here. We
Here
don't, we don't hang them
Virginia's?
on ourselves. We don't keep any money in the agency at all.
Thank you.
Any other-
Kevin? So the reason now let's go back to the truck.
Okay,
The reason you brought that up is we know that we have some money COVID related. It doesn't have to be COVID. I don't know. We're going to learn more about it in the workshop tomorrow. But you're proposing that would be something to consider.
yes. And we will continue to be most likely giving vaccinations for COVID, plus vaccinations for all the other things. So it is not a crime then to use it for the other purposes also.
So, it really kind of gets down to at some point, we're always going to have COVID people being infected. It's going to be like common cold. It's not common, but it's another virus that's going to continually show like some do.
And most likely others will be developing.
Right. So we'll have to get into how we're going to, we don't have to have a special item on our agenda. It'd be you coming to us with, if something spiked, whether it's that or some other issue.
Then it'll be discussed. Yes, sir.
So what are you proposing now? We could get, is there any other questions on what he's got here on the truck before I bring that up?
And basically that the truck that could be funded by the money that is being provided under COVID right now will pull the trailers that we're trying to get designed and also purchased so that we can go to various portions of our county, even to support firefighters if need be. So we can do all sorts of public health, meet public health demands, not just COVID.
So you've got somebody giving you, I don't know whether you're looking at a Ford or a Chevy or Dodge, but is it a 3500 class
Yes.
series?
Yeah, it's a 6.7 liter. Yeah, well,
2500?
actually, yeah,
He's got a 25 here.
it's a 2500 Ram.
I hope that's not the OEM's recommendation that you took.
Well, actually, in spite of OEMs, no,
He's in the business,
that's right. Exactly.
Okay, so that would be something that we would,
But we could cut about $20,000 off the cost by doing it with the fleet costs and so on for the government. So that's why I'm pushing it.
well, our workshop will look at things and we're going to have to
Yes, sir.
consider based on that, what kind of categories and
Yes, sir.
when we can get them.
We also need some radios. I think I'd mentioned this to you guys last time.
But you were looking at getting some used ones.
Yeah, not used radios, but new radios because ours were, I'm not going to take anything from Mr. Washington.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, kind of thought that might be.
Any other questions on that, Dennis? Tom,
No.
Kevin?
No, not at this time.
I tried to give you several bids, at least 2 bids.
And
And
then-
then get more if we did.
I guess there was one that you wanted to asking from today, the EPR administrator.
You're serving as the administrator
Yes,
for EPR?
Okay.
I'm not particularly a Dodge person, just because I've never owned one. A 2500 is half ton or 3/4.
Full.
It can, yeah, it's usually a 3/4 ton, but it has with the diesel, it is very, very strong.
Comparable to a 2500 Chevy.
Pulling uphill thousands and thousands of pounds behind you, and it just does it without even making a noise.
What would, since we're on that subject, and I kind of broached on some of this earlier. What would this vehicle be doing when it's not pulling that trailer?
Well, if we need to go out, if I need to send our immunization nurse out individually into a very remote habitation during the winter time, it has 4-wheel drive, obviously, that just clicks in as you're going. It'll take us out there and back and not really have to worry too much about weather. So we can do what we need to do. And one of the programs that I want to see set up is us going around to the people who are under medication watch, so to speak. When we have some pretty rough weather around here, I would like to be able to go out and check and do some testing and be able to feed that testing into their primary care provider and have him then communicate with us if he wants to increase, decrease, change, whatever he wants to do with his plan, when some of the people, particularly the elderly population, have some substantial problems moving, getting from one place to another safely. So this would provide in times other than just pulling a trailer, this would provide enough space in there and a pretty safe vehicle to be able to get them be equipped with radios also. So that services that need to be rendered can be rendered.
And so then this RAV4 that you've got on there as well, then what?
That would be for around town, and that is a hybrid. So that has, you can go electrical or you can go gas. And it cuts way down. It's approximately the same within $100 or $200 of all of that type of the Subaru. I checked several of them out, and this actually gives you about 10 miles per gallon more fuel mileage, and with cost being around $3 a gallon, that'll make a difference for us eventually. So that would be for around town. The pickup would be used under more dire circumstances, challenging circumstances, plus pulling.
Okay. We can get into that when we get serious about
Yes, sir.
how we're going to fund things. And
Yes, sir.
some good ideas, and you probably have some other ideas for use, I hope.
Yes, sir.
That's 2. All right. Then there's no sanitarian issues. Jackie said she has something that you're working, but she says you're working it. So
Yes, I am working at, we have a son who is looking at taking over his father's septic business. We currently have, and this is just for general information, we currently have no way to empty septic tanks, porta potties, whatever, and deposit that safely here in the valley. Right now, they're going against state regulation because you're not supposed to haul any of that stuff across county lines. It's being hauled out
Was
to
that right? So
Penrose because we have no options.
I
And so
know it was
right
being
now,
called
I
out.
just
I didn't
can't-
know it was against county.
Yeah, it's against state rules. You're not supposed to haul it across county lines.
So how do you meet that criteria then? You gotta
Well-
get certified by somebody else to dump it in somewhere here?
Well, yeah, there's a whole process that I read through Friday afternoon through the state regulations. And there are several things that you can do, but you can actually, by evaporating, by drying the refuse, so to speak, you can, once you've removed all but 18% of the water, You can then spread it dry to raise the pH of the ground, to add nitrogen to the ground. So you actually can increase the quality, the productivity of the land, and then you have a whole list of all the different, everything from wheat to barley to whatever, that you can then, with a certain amount of nitrogen, you're allowed to add a certain amount depending on what you're going to be raising, but you can actually increase the quality using that for.
So are there variances to that, so the counties can not necessarily spend the money doing that, or how does Fremont County get rid of this?
They have their own because they have Penrose.
Well, that's what I mean.
Oh, they have a big station, and it's quite an expensive, millions of dollars. Okay, with all holding ponds and some treatment facilities.
So, okay. But anyway, you're gonna come back with some proposal.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the other way is to do it with lime, which neutralizes everything very quickly. However, then it can't be used particularly for increasing the quality of land, because it doesn't give you much
But
nitrogen.
where would you put it?
Well, there is a gentleman who has a lot of land who is being dealt with right now. I can't give you names.
No, I'm not asking it. It's just, you've got to have some place that we're gonna have to spend some money to cultivate, so to speak, to make something happen.
Yeah, but there is I think it will turn into a viable business so that the county is not putting out a lot of money.
Okay, well, it sounds like you got just starting
That's right.
to look at. Interesting.
Comments, gentlemen?
You can,
No, I'm good.
okay. Well, thanks.
Other than that, I think we're good, sir.
All right, unfinished business. I don't have any. Tom?
No.
Kevin?
No.
Okay, and then as far as the metrics and issues, based upon your status, I don't see that there's an issue with that we need to deal with now. I guess from my point of view, we would continue to monitor as you are, so your own contact tracing, working with the state too. Seems to be working. And then I guess our next meeting would be next month about this time. So when is that? So I don't get mixed up on the dates. Is that on the 2nd, 3rd? I don't remember I gotta look at it.
July would be, the first Tuesday is the 6th.
That's the first meeting.
Yes, we have meetings 6th and 7th, correct?
I propose the first one, get it out of the way.
Would that also be 13:30 hours?
Yeah.
1:30?
Yeah, 1:30
On the 6th.
on the 6th. It's after the 4th of July, you might know.
I'm allowed to bring all my unused fireworks
Yeah.
that leave the ground and explode.
Yeah, okay. An ordinance disposal process with the Department of Health. Okay, any other comments on that? Your issues? Kevin, you good?
I'm good.
Tom?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, it looks like we've been running anywhere from 3 to 6, somewhere in there the last couple of weeks from what I'm seeing in your reports, so.
Yeah, I'm good. Any public comment now? Anybody out here? Any issues? Reggie, you keeping up on things now? You're back into the saddle?
Back in the saddle.
Okay. Might be good that from what we're hearing here, it looks like some ground for public information might be good to get out once these programs get established.
Absolutely.
And we had one come up today, and when do we refer to her?
Guinevere,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think she'll get a hold of you. You guys are office mates. Okay, I don't have anything else.
I'd like to mention one other thing with Guinevere that twigged my memory. We did track down the 3 sites here and over here where there are mine shafts. Remember I had mentioned to you about water quality that we need to do some testing on. because this county has a way above average amount of cancers. And so what I want to do is send a track down to see if it is anything to do with our aquifers, if because of the mining, perhaps nothing to do with the mining, but those are things that I really do want to look into for the sake of our kids and.
Gonna be on the east, on Wet Mountain side, sounds like.
Well, we have the old shops here too, so we.
Well, that's the Wet Mountains, basically.
Yes, yes.
Uranium's on the other side, we get radioactive on it.
Right. Okay.
That's good to keep on. Okay.
Blame mine on the radon coming up out through the basement.
Let's do that.
We have test kits for that, so.
All right, how about a motion to adjourn? Anybody want to do that honor?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second to adjourn, and it is 1:05. Thank you.
We're gonna vote.
All in favor, say aye. Tom,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
and aye. 2:05.